no honeycomb, no polypropylene, no fiberglass, and yet this might be one of the most balanced, complete, and fun paddles I've played this year. This is the J2FC Plus from Honolulu Pickleball. It's built entirely around a full foam core, surrounded by EVA, layered with carbon fiber, and tuned for control without losing power. It plays fast, feels plush, and brings a surprising amount of stability for a paddle this maneuverable. In this review, I'm going to break down what's inside, how it performs, and how it stacks up against other high-performing paddles on the market. I'll also show you what's going on under the hood, including some internal structure you won't see anywhere else. Honolulu Pickleball did send me this paddle out for testing, but they've had no input on what I say here. All impressions are based on my hands-on testing and real gameplay. If you're interested in trying one, you can save 10% using code MPB on any Honolulu Pickleball paddle, or use code MPBK to save $20 on any of the Kevlar builds. Now, if you're confused by how many J2 models Honolulu Pickleballs drop lately, you're not alone. There's the J2K, the J2TI, J2K+, J2TI+, J2FC+, the J2NF, the J2NFK, the J2NFT, plus a Gen 2 version called the J2FC that hasn't even officially launched, and probably a dozen other J2 paddles I'm forgetting. I've also seen names like J2NFC, J2NFK Pro, and J2NFH. It's a lot, and my head is spinning. Honestly, Honolulu Pickleball might be the only brand releasing paddles faster than Netflix cancels good shows. So yeah, it can be confusing, but that's why I'm here, to help you cut through it, figure out what actually matters, and decide if this paddle makes sense for your game. The J2FC Plus is another variation in the growing J2 lineup, but it's also one of the more refined and thoughtfully built models. It's quick, stable, and clean off the face. So let's get into the construction, because how this paddle is built directly shapes the way it plays. The J2FC Plus is built on a full foam foundation, but it's not just a block of material. Inside, it uses an EPP core, a floating core shaped like a diving board, reinforced by an EVA foam perimeter that wraps around the top and sides in an upside-down U configuration. EPP, or expanded polypropylene, is a lightweight yet springy material. It compresses slightly upon contact, then rebounds cleanly. That flex through the center gives the paddle its linear power profile. What you give it is what it gives back, without feeling hot or unpredictable. EVA foam, on the other hand, is denser and more dampening. By framing the edge in EVA, Honolulu stabilizes the shape and reduces vibration. So mishits near the edge don't twist the paddle, and you get a cleaner feel on all types of shots. There's no honeycomb, no polypropylene, and no fiberglass. The entire core is foam, and the face, pure carbon fiber, no fiberglass or composite filler layers. It's a clean, consistent carbon layup with a raw peel ply texture baked straight into the surface with an excellent level of grit. That surface gives you elite spin potential right out of the box, and because the texture is molded into the carbon itself, not sprayed on, this surface will stay effective far longer than coatings that flake or fade over time. If you look at the x-rays, you can actually see how uniform the internal structure is. There's no honeycomb grid, no hollow chambers, just full foam backing across the hitting surface, reinforced at the perimeter with that curved EVA ring. That architecture helps preserve the paddle shape, manage shock, and maintain consistent rebound across the entire face. This build draws inspiration from earlier Gen 3 designs, such as perimeter foam, but applies them to a completely solid core. That puts the J2FC Plus in its own category. No dead zones, no artificial bounce, just structured foam and clean carbon. But the real story is in how it plays, and that's where this paddle starts to separate itself. The first thing you'll notice is the feel. It's not soft in the traditional sense, but it does have a plush quality. It's not as stiff or rigid as the J2NF on touch shots. There's no springboard effect or artificial rebound, even though there's a diving board inside the paddle. Just a smooth, grounded response that stays consistent whether you're driving, resetting, or dinking. Drives have plenty of depth and pace, but they're not explosive. Power builds linearly. It doesn't jump off the face unless you put something behind it. And that's a big contrast to Gen 3 polypropylene builds, where edge foam can amplify bounce off the face. Here, the full foam core delivers power on your terms, which gives you better control over pace. On resets and drops, this paddle feels dialed and soft, which is the biggest difference between this and the J2NF. The dwell feels longer, the face stays stable under pressure, and the response is consistent across the whole sweet spot. You don't have to guide or muscle the ball, just set the paddle and let it work. Punch volleys clocked in at 36.3 miles per hour, and that matches the feel. There's a slight delay on contact, enough to keep the ball from sailing, but not so much that it feels dead. For hand battles, that makes it predictable. You can speed up with confidence and slow things down when needed. Spin is top tier. The paddle hit 2,307 RPM in testing, which puts it in the 90th percentile across everything I've measured. That's in line with the best spin paddles on the market, and because of the clean face layup, the grip on the ball doesn't fade as the paddle wears in, but will it last? Well, only time will tell. Stability is another highlight. Despite the low swing weight, around 108, the twist weight is almost 6.9, which makes it feel solid even when you hit near the edges. That combo is rare, quick in hand, but still forgiving on mishits. It also gives you headroom to add tungsten if you want to tune the balance or bump the swing weight. And I haven't felt the need to add weight because I like the way this plays stock. During the testing process, I haven't observed any signs of breakdown. No delamination, no heat up, and no rattling. And every unit I've seen in this line has arrived at the same weight and balance, which tells me the manufacturing consistency is locked in. If you're coming from a paddle like the Selkirk 888 or Diadem Blue Core, expect more power, pop, and spin here. If you've played the J2NF or J2NFK, this one's a little softer, with more touch and less pop. It's one of the most balanced paddles in the Honolulu lineup right now, and one of the few foam core builds that actually delivers on feel without falling apart. In the hybrid shape, that plays a role in how all of this comes together. The J2FC Plus uses Honolulu Pickleball's hybrid mold, same one they use across the J2NF, J2NFK, J2NFT, and all of the other J2 paddles. It's 16.2 inches long by 7.8 inches wide, which puts it right between a traditional elongated and standard shape. This is a hybrid shape. Compared to a full elongated build, this hybrid shape gives up a bit of reach, but makes up for it in forgiveness and hand speed. It's easier to control in fast exchanges and more stable on off-center contact, especially near the upper edges. Versus the standard shapes, you get a bit more leverage on drives and a longer handle, nearly 5.5 inches, which gives room for two-handed backhands without feeling top-heavy. The sweet spot on the J2FC Plus is big, and thanks to the symmetrical build and that full foam core, you don't really feel a drop-off in energy return near the edges like you do in Gen 1 paddles, where it's especially unforgiving, and where the upper third can feel hollow or unstable. If you're the type of player who likes a paddle that's maneuverable but still potent, this hybrid shape hits a nice middle ground. You're not compromising on stability or spin, but you're not swinging a sledgehammer either. If you're a player who prioritizes feel, control, and consistency, but still wants access to power when you need it, the J2FC Plus should be on your shortlist. To be clear, it's not a max pop or power paddle. If you're hunting for raw explosiveness or high trampoline response, the J2NF, Ripples, 11624 power, Yolas, and GX2 powers might be a better fit. But if you want a paddle that plays connected on resets, dials in soft shots, and doesn't punish you for taking big swings unless they're wild ones, this one delivers. The J2FC Plus is especially strong for all court players who like to build points and not just end them. The feel is clean, the energy return is predictable, and the paddle responds smoothly when you change pace mid-rally. If you've tried Gen 2 or 3 paddles and found them too rigid or hot off the face, this is a more controlled evolution. And if you're coming from something like those models, this gives you better spin, more drive potential, and a bigger sweet spot without giving up that soft game touch. It's also a strong option if you like to tune your gear. The low swing weight and high twist weight give you a stable base that's easy to build on. Add perimeter tungsten and you've got a paddle that can scale up with your game. If you want one paddle that can flex between control and power depending on how you show up that day, the J2FC Plus gives you that option without compromise. And for a paddle that performs like this, the pricing might surprise you. The J2FC Plus retails for $195, which lands it in the sub-premium range, but still well below other high-performance foam core paddles. The Carbon True Foam Genesis series runs closer to $279, Diadem Blue Core and Selkirk's 888, also north of $250. The J2FC Plus delivers top-tier spin, consistent feel, and high build quality without pushing into the upper bracket. You're getting a paddle that's purpose-built, all foam inside, raw carbon outside, and tournament ready right out of the box. And if you use code MPB, you can knock 10% off that price, which makes the overall value even stronger. So that's it. That's the review of the J2FC Plus from Honolulu Pickleball. Full foam core, carbon face, clean feel, built for performance. If you're looking for a paddle that blends control, spin, and stability without feeling dead or disconnected, this one checks the boxes. It doesn't overpower you, but it's got good power when you find it. If you've got any questions about this J2FC Plus, drop them in the comments. I read every one and I'll respond. If this review was helpful, hit that like button and subscribe. It helps more than you know. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.